Good afternoon. Welcome back, viewers, to Ideators, Next Generation Entrepreneurs. We're here in Hotel Sigiriya for a very special episode. Alfresco judging today in the heart of Sri Lanka's cultural triangle. I'd like to introduce our judges to you. You all know Pumi Pereira, Head of Design at the Hydramani Group of Companies. Pumi.
Yes.
It's good to be here.
It's fantastic to be here. Beautiful, in this beautiful spot.
Absolutely. Long drive, but well worth being here. Our episode partners today are Hotel Sigiriya, part of the Serendip Leisure Group of Companies. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce two episode judges for today's episode. And they are Abbas Esufali, Chairman of the Serendip Group of Companies.
Hello.
Very good to have you.
Thank you, Tony. Nice to be here.
And you've been very hospitable to our contestants.
Thank you. I hope they've had a pleasant stay.
They've had a pleasant stay so far, but it'll get difficult in the next hour. I'd also like to introduce Suranjit Di Fonseca, who's Head of Marketing and Sales for the Serendip Leisure Group.
Great to be here, Tony.
Thank you very much.
Sigiriya is often known as the Lion Rock. So let's start with Team Lionheart.
Okay, the concept that we came out with for the centerpiece of the hotel, we were given the location and we observed the location. There's an actual furniture there, so we want to replace the furniture from a centerpiece. So we had some constraints like time. We are really happy to manage the time and come out with this artistic tailor-made product. So we have a really good thought process and we have a really good pitch behind it. So I'd like to pass over to Luke to talk about the design.
Okay, the design itself is inspired by the Sigiriya rock. That's where the silhouette is taken from. It's actually inspired by the perspective you see from within the hotel bar. We gave that to the carver to construct the external shape. The frame within is also inspired by the hotel. It's the frame that you've used, the pitch roof that you can see from the bar area that frames Sigiriya rock. So basically we wanted to use that frame, that window, as an opening to start introducing the experiences that your visitors will get to have while they stay at your hotel.
Well, what I would say is I like the size and the scale fits the location that was identified for the centerpiece. And we wanted something iconic. So we were hoping that we could get something with a bit more creativity. But you all chose to go just for the duplication of the same visual. Any reason why? Probe again for a little bit further?
We wanted something that wasn't too abstract so that people can understand it. They see this and then they turn and they see the same thing. That's basically what our inspiration was. We didn't want to take it too far away from what you see because from a tourist point of view, I am the demographic for this piece. I might not necessarily understand a lot more symbolic imagery at first glance, but this would tell the story straight away.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, let's go with Team Reflex.
And the main underlying theme of our design is the serendipity sort of motto of uncovering and discovering through chance. So we were really inspired by the rock and the layers of history that are incorporated with the rock. Every time you come back to the rock, you are going to find something new and you're going to discover something new about the area and the place and the history.
I'll move on to the reason why we chose an octagonal shape. During the tour, when we climbed up to the rock, we were shown the king and queen had a special pool that was octagonal, that was an octagon-shaped pool. So that really inspired us, especially because coming into the reception of the hotel, the floors are divided into 8 parts, the ceilings are divided into 8 parts into an octagon shape, even the bar is an octagon shape. So that really influenced our design. Also, we went with the number 8, which also represents an octagon because it's considered the 8th wonder of the world. It's also one of the 8 national conservation sites in Sri Lanka. And we took that 8 and depicted it into the layers, which we felt was part of our theme. And we did 8 steps going down into the layers. At the bottom, you find the hand of a maiden with the lotus flower. We are inspired by the frescoes and the paintings on the Sigiriya rock. The maidens were holding a lotus flower, presenting that to Buddha. When we came in yesterday morning, the first thing we received upon entering was a flower welcoming us into the resort. So we made that connection between our reception and what we saw on the rock.
The issue is that I felt someone could walk past your exhibit. I mean, I think you put an enormous amount of detail into it, and I really like the meaning behind what you've said. But unless you have that plaque and someone stops to read it, or unless our guests, make a point of explaining it to everyone who walks in, they could miss it. And as you said, we have octagons all over the place, and it could just be another octagon.
Okay. Yumi, anything to
yes, I
add
do,
for either team?
One of the things that, given this design challenge, I wanted to see something a little bit larger, because you have been given this large space, and scale is a problem here. Neither of you seems to have really thought that out.
Our initial thought when we got there was to produce something really dramatic and large scale, but when we spoke to the carvers with the timescale we had, they were saying in one day we can only produce these little elephants or these little figurines. So we thought of why not use a large raw material. It was initially going to be a big, just a big trunk with carvings like fossils on the outside, but we thought for practical purposes, transporting and in the timescales we had, that maybe we couldn't achieve that in the day either. So that we've tried to make it as large scale as possible by having this big symbolic object, but by introducing the stuff which takes the time in a smaller area. So we did really try to push the scale and the size as big as we could.
Thank you very much, both teams. You've made things, I think, quite difficult. We've got direct, strong statement of where we are, Sigiriya, from this team. We've got a more subtle exploration of the symbolism, the deep symbolism and the meaning and the cultural heritage of this place from the other team. They've made our life difficult. I think we need a pause.
Yes, it's very difficult.
I'd like to ask both teams, please, to leave the al fresco space while we discuss it.
Yes.
විනිසුරු මඩුල්ල බෙහෙවින් අසරණ වූවා. අසම සම ලෙස සැලසුම් කර තිබූ ලී කැටයම් නිර්මාණ ද්විත්වය නිසා ජයග්‍රහණය සඳහා වඩාත් සුදුසු කණ්ඩායම තීරණය කරන්නට ඔවුන් දීර්ඝ ලෙස සාකච්ඡා කළා.
So, in the balance, or isn't it?
Yeah, it's been very difficult. The winner is Team Lionheart.
The direct approach wins today. Hotel Sigiriya would prefer your piece as a centerpiece in this iconic hotel, in this iconic location. Team Reflex take great consolation from the praise from all the judges. A very impressive, very creative, very thoughtful piece that clearly has potential. As the Craft Centre have said, they want to talk to you about developing this item. But there's a winner and a loser, and what's decided it is what the client wants, Hotel Sigiriya. Before you leave, can I just ask you very quickly, you seem all to have been touched and inspired, as many have been and down the centuries, by your visit to Sigiriya. Would you like to very briefly say a few words before you leave Team Reflex about the experience?
Yeah, I would just like to thank you for being so open and hospitable to all of us. Last night was fantastic.
And more on the symbolism. What did it mean to you, Adam? You come, you've seen it for the first time.
Inspiring. I'd never actually heard of this place before, but I'd definitely recommend it to anybody that I speak to. This is one of the highlights for me.
Lara, you took a lot out of your visit to the
Yes,
frescoes,
I did.
etc.
Yes, I did. I mean, it's just amazing that so much technology was used 1,000 years ago. It's just amazing that someone could create a palace out of a rock. And, you know, we talk about technology today like it's a 21st century thing, but it's something that has been going on since the 5th century. I just thought it was really, really...
And Indrajit, you've spoken with great pride as a Sri Lankan about this iconic place. Do you feel pleased and proud to have shared it with your fellow UK entrepreneurs?
Like just seeing their reactions while we were going up, that was something like, it just like, you know, pride just starts welling up in you. You're just like, these guys are going, wow, so awesome and stuff like that. And I'm just like
And that was really something to take back.
So there you have it, viewers. They've been touched and inspired by Sigiriya, but unfortunately there is a losing team today. It is Team Reflex, and I'd like to ask you to leave the room, please. Perhaps not. You stay. Team Lionheart, leave. Just testing you. How are you feeling?
Disappointed.
We're not too happy either. Some of these tasks, some of these decisions have been difficult. Today's has been almost impossible. We have the red envelope, but for today, in recognition of your achievements and a piece that we were truly astounded by, impressed, full of praise, there will not be an elimination. No elimination tonight. We all like happy endings, but in a future episode, I'm afraid there'll be more drama and a double elimination. Thank you. Please join us next week for another episode of Ideators, Next Generation Entrepreneurs.
අද සුවිශේෂ දවසක්. විනිශ්චය මණ්ඩලය වැදගත් තීරණයක් ගත්තා. රිෆ්ලෙක්ස් කණ්ඩායම පරාජය වුවත් ඔවුන්ගෙන් කිසිවෙකු ඉවත් නොකරන්නට විනිශ්චය මණ්ඩලය තීරණය කළා. ලයන්හාට් කණ්ඩායම ජයග්‍රහණය කළත් රිෆ්ලෙක්ස් අතින් නිම වූ නිර්මාණයද විශිෂ්ට තත්ත්වයේ තිබීම ඊට හේතුවයි. නමුත් ඉදිරි අභියෝගයකදී දෙදෙනෙකු එකවර ඉවත්වීමේ අවදානමද විනිශ්චය මණ්ඩලය අප කණ්ඩායම් හමුවේ තැබුවා. තාරුණ්‍යයේ අනාගත ව්‍යවසායකත්වය සොයා යන බ්‍රිටිෂ් කවුන්සිල් Ideators රියැලිටි වැඩසටහනේ අප තරගකරුවන්ට හොටෙල් සීගිරිය වෙතින් ලැබුණු අභියෝගය ඔවුන් සාර්ථකව ජයගත් අයුරු. සීගිරි පවුව ඈතින් හිඳ නිහඬව බලා සිටියා.
Here we go again. I made a mistake. Where do I belong in this great escape? Chasing pavements, building castles in the sky. Finding out the meaning of this life. Oh, though this is the end of the fight, a battle I fought with all my mind. It's given me life tonight, a reason to chase the light, a reason to chase the light, a reason to chase the light.